Alright, greets peeps, we are back and we are doing part 3 of our tutorial series. We're going to do a beginner campaign as Spain, and it's going to talk about the Reconquista, the Spanish Inquisition, and a new world. Does it tell us anything interesting? Yeah, let's have a go. I'm fairly certain it lets you continue on after this. I may do, I may not. Actually, if we're already... hang on, a Spanish Empire, Inquisition, New World. I think we... who knows? Let's see what happens. I don't... I imagine we should start as Castile, which will be interesting because I don't think I've ever actually played them. I don't think I continued this on when I... hey, here we are. Very interesting. Actually, I think we've already taken some of it, haven't we? Yeah, because Granada starts with... yeah, Granada starts with that, that, and that. I'm fairly certain. In the normal game, so this is... oh, wow. In a solid 48 years, we've managed to take meow and meow. Well, that's just dandy game. How impressive. No, oh my god. Okay, regardless, we're here to do the tutorial, not to talk about how the game does what the game does. Right, army recruitment is important. We know how to make armies, bruh. 5 land units. Does that fix the army max? There we go. Okay, that's our actual max. So we're quite low on manpower, relatively speaking. Yeah, we don't make a lot of money either. Okay, so there we get to see our base maintenance now. So for men-at-arms, who I'm tempted to hire because our manpower's low, for mercenary men-at-arms it costs 0.5 as opposed to 0.2. So they cost double the maintenance and triple the initial hiring cost. Worth doing? Let's have a look at our army at the moment. Have we got any mercs in there? No. If I were... yeah, no, let's just do it as though I was playing this game properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that cost us a shed load of money, but it's worth it for manpower reasons, I believe. Let's congregate our army. When you declare war, you need to cast a spell eye. Choose... oh god. Can't use shortcut keys just because. Split does work though. Okay, so this guy will be... oops, let's declare. We want Garnata or Granada. Oops. The war overview window. Sorry, we've seen that declaring war stuff before. We were doing a Reconquista. Oh no, we weren't. We were doing a conquest. So that was different. Where we had negative when we had 25% aggressive expansion, 100% prestige, and was it 50% war score or 75% war score to take provinces? Now it's 100, 100, 100. That's the big difference. So we're getting a lot more aggressive expansion for this, but at least we have a claim on it. It limits our aggressive expansion. If we had no claim, it would be even more. The war overview window gives you an overview of how the war is going, who the belligerents are, and who is the war leader on each side. Battles and sieges are listed in the bottom. So we've had no battles or sieges. I'm the war leader. Aragon's come in because we've got them in a personal union. Okay, I see what's happened. There's a an event called the Iberian Wedding that allows Castile and Aragon to fall together under a personal union. That's something I should probably explain at some point in the future. I don't know when I'll do it. Yeah, at some point in the future. So they are an independent nation in name, but they pay us. No, they don't pay us money each month, do they? No. They don't pay us money each month. They run their own kingdom internally, but I'm the head of their country. And in 50 years, so in 1529, I'll be able to integrate them and create a giant Castile. This being Castile and Aragon, though, there's another event that will allow me to create Spain, and I imagine that's what will happen. What this guide's leading us towards. So click next. I see. Sorry, I missed that. The results of the war will be recorded and are presented as war score. War score is gained from occupying enemy provinces and winning land or naval battles. If an enemy occupies your provinces or defeats you in battle, you will instead lose war score. War score decides what can be demanded in a peace offer. So we need to get a war score of 100. So let's send our chappy chap in here. In the meantime, let's have a look at our leader. We haven't seen a leader before. So we've got a leader here who has 3, 3, 4, and 0. That means, I won't go into this too much at the moment, but he's a reasonable enough leader, except that he can't siege, and we're going to need to siege their fort and their capital city together, which the fort is is 2 levels of defensiveness. Their capital city is 1 level of defensiveness, so we're trying to besiege a level 3 territory. That sucks. That's very hard to do. So let's have a look. Ah, yes, we've got Queen Isabel de Trastamara. That's why they've fallen underneath us. I see. Yeah, that's one of the... Having a queen in charge of things is one of the triggers for the event. So we do have another leader here who is 226. So that's quite good. Having high maneuver on your ships is really handy, because it means there's an increased likelihood... Oh, that may be a DLC thing. But I think having high maneuver means that we can we can capture ships. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. There may be a DLC thing, as I said. So we're sending in that army. That's fine. I want another leader, but the problem we've got is that we've got we've already got our 2 leaders, and they're both reasonable leaders, so we don't want to kick any of them out. So we'll just let this siege do its thing. In the meantime, we should look in here. I can't send anyone to them yet. You can only speak to a country once every month, so we have to wait till the 9th of March. So let's let this battle happen. And he should be... There we go. Clobber, clobber, clobber. Why is the morale so low? Oh, they had their maintenance turned down. So their maintenance was -1 or -0.9 for their morale. We sneak attacked them, good. But are we getting a massive bonus there? Tutorial plus 100. Okay, that makes sense. So don't expect those kinds of wins too often. Now, with sieging, you need a certain amount. You need 3 times the occupier's troops to be able to siege a place down. for this clock to keep ticking. If it stops, if you drop below 3 times the amount, so let's do that by doing that. If you don't have enough people to do a siege, you'll see that, I mean, I can't actually tell what it is. Is it weird picket lines, or is it a whole bunch of exclamation marks? I've never been able to tell what the hell that's meant to be. Oh, is it some sort of weird fort icon? Yeah, that's what it looks like. So when you haven't got enough people on a siege, that little red fort icon will show. Let's move our man back. And now it's looking right. The reason I'm moving these away is because they're more expensive to reinforce, so there's no point doing that. And the reason I'm leaving those there is because they're the cheapest units I've got. In fact, what would probably make more sense is to take those mercenaries away and put our normal regiments in there because they're cheaper to reinforce. When you're doing a siege, and it's been sort of tricky to show you so far, normally this takes 30 days, so it would be very easy to show you. When you're doing a siege, this dice is rolled. Oh wow, good roll. This dice is rolled, and it's a 0 to 10 with a whole bunch of modifiers thrown on it. If you roll a 1 on that 0, does these outbreak 1? Oh, sorry, the dice is a 1 to 14, in fact, not a 1 to 10. Why it's a 1 to 14, I've no fucking idea. Some of the maths in this game just, well, the math choices in this befuddle me. So combat is a 1 to 10, this is a 1 to 14, I just don't know. I just don't know. Regardless, that's what's happened. I mean, just do it as percentages. Does it matter? Does it need to be a dice? I don't know. Anyways, so if we ever roll a 1, we get a disease outbreak, which causes a bunch of our attackers die. If we roll a 5 to 10, including these modifiers over here. So we've got -5 at the moment because their fort's level 3, and and it's a coastal fort that isn't blockaded. They get -5. We've got no siege leader, and we've got no cannons involved in the siege. We've got no breaks in the wall. We've got no wall breach, I should say. So this siege would ordinarily take a very, very long time because we're at -5. Our chances of getting a good roll are quite low. So we actually rolled a... How we got a 13? Oh, the 13 was on the dice, okay. And then that was modified by -5, so we got an 8 for that last one, which gave us a supplies shortage. I thought it said food shortage. Oh well. As we increase, I believe this gets added to the... So that became a 1. And then... They haven't got water shortage, they've got supplies shortage. Yeah, we'll just keep going through it. Oh. So it's a -3 at the moment. Dice with a -3, as you can see at the top. The -3, the +2 comes from the siege timer, and that disqualifies that, meaning the only malice involved is there. There's the -3. So we've got a -57% chance for that siege to finish. that negative 57 remains the case. Oh. A 5, absolutely nothing happened. Let's speed this up because I'm getting bored now. So what did we get? We got a 9, still no use to us. A 10, still not. Oh, there we go. So the chances are increasing now as this timer creeps up, as the siege timer creeps up. The bonus creeps up. So we roll a 10, we get a 4, we got a 14. We got a water short. Oh no, sorry, we would this siege. This cycle. Last cycle was a bonus of 3 and 10, made 13, and gave them a food shortage. 13 plus a 3, no, plus 13 plus a 1, that's right, 6, yep, no, I don't know what the siege, that would have been 13 plus 5 would have been an 18, that gave them a defender's dessert, by the looks. Let's have a look. 4 this time, they got a, actually that was fine, they got nothing that time. Uh, 14. Actually, our navy is ready to go now. What we'll do is we'll bring our navy out here, and because he'll be blockading them, we'll see this disappear. So we've now got a hearty bonus to that. They've gotten rid of that. They've got rid of that bonus. So now it's only they've got rid of that malice, and now we've only got this malice remaining. So we should be 8, we should be plus 5. And we rolled an 8, we got a 13, which was food shortage. We can see up there that gives a plus 2. So 2 plus 10 plus whatever we roll on the dice. Oh, you can also see the money coming off the top there. Each month your troops are parked on an enemy territory, they'll be looting. There's 9.2 ducats worth of looting to be done here. We're looting 1 per month. So looting enemy provinces, particularly ones that you're not going to keep, is a great way to make money and to pay for your armies while they're out in the field. 1 seems very high for that. I don't know why it's that high. Maybe that's just how high it is on this difficulty. I don't know. It's a good amount of money though. Can't complain with that. So that should have been quite a good one. That was our bonuses were 9 all told. And we had Defender's Dessert. Good stuff. So that gives us another plus 2 next month. Hey, and with that they conceded. I don't know what happened to the navy. When a territory you control gets taken over by an enemy, any navy that's parked on that territory will be forced to move out to open sea, and they had a navy there that should have been forced to move out to here, where our troops would have fought it. Or maybe we did. Okay, yeah, they've taken some damage. That's what happened. And I didn't see if those numbers changed. Perhaps they did. Perhaps we caught some ships without me noticing, but for some reason that pop-up didn't show. Typically I have pop-ups enabled for most everything, as you'll see in the game proper, but it didn't seem to show here. Let's have a look in the war score and see if we can have a look at the battle. Castilian fleet of 18 ships engaged with a Granadan fleet of 11 ships. So we got 4 extra ships. What they were, I have no idea, but we took an extra 4 ships, which is huge. It's a whole lot of money. Okay, I'm gonna guess actually from the damage taken that we caught 1 bark and 3 transports. Oh no, perhaps 4 barks. That's really good. That's 4 barks would cost us a good amount of money to build. Yeah, that would cost 80 ducats. So we've captured 80 ducats worth of ships, which is super. That's great. And why it's really cool to have a one good admiral that you can use for these types of situations where you capture ships. Right, now Granada is defeated. Annex them to finish the reconquest of Spain, the Reconquista. So we'll click on that. We'll go to the PC button. Once an enemy or you are fully occupied and you have no armies roaming around. In fact, even if you have armies roaming around but you're fully occupied, I think the war score goes up to 99%. And once your last province, actually once all of your forts, if your armies are trashed and all of your forts, including your capital, are occupied, I think it goes up to 99% as well. I'm not sure. It's a long time since I've ever examined it closely. You typically just keep going until you have the war score that you want. But I think those are correct. So we've destroyed their navy, we've destroyed their army, and we've occupied their capital. We have a 100% war score. We'll go into ticking war score and stuff in our next war. Yeah, we'll talk about those when we do a more exciting war. So Garnata is going to become part of ours. Whenever you've got spare war score, always take as much money as you can. The way I'm doing that is by holding down shift and left mouse buttoning. Otherwise, it's going to take you a while. So hold down shift and boop, or just right mouse button to go through large chunks of it. So a big change of this game just recently has been the amount of money that you can take from a country when you defeat them. The maximum now is only 5 loans, which is pretty rough when you used to be able to take all of the money that they've got and huge amount, and I think it was like 20 loans worth, something awful. I haven't lost a big enough war in the last couple of years that I could say that I've ever that I could ever gauge it from. But yeah, it's definitely a lot lower than it used to be. You would expect in a war like this, before this current patch, as of May 2018, prior to this patch, you would have expected to get 120 ducats, somewhere between 80 and 120 ducats. Now it's 35. It's certainly changed the way that money works in the game. But yeah, that's cool. So we can see in here that we're demanding their full annexation. They're going to give us all the money that they've got. We'll get a tiny bit of inflation, but that's okay. We'll get some aggressive expansion, but not enough for anyone to go within coalition range. We'll talk about coalitions later. We got 3.17 prestige. Hooray, we definitely need it. We've only got 13. And Granada will disappear, but they'll also lose some prestige. Very good. Hooray! This concludes the Reconquista chapter of the Spanish Empire campaign. Great. The ruler is very important for the development of your country. You have 3 resources which are called monarch points. We know about those. Advisors boost how many monarch points you gain per month. They cost gold to hire, and you must also pay their salaries each month. Hiring a more expensive advisor will give you more monthly monarch points, but you will gain less gold each month. So the way that the advisor levels, the advisor costs actually work is that they're basically double. It costs more than double for the next level up. So let's have a look here at a level 1. They cost 1.2. Yeah, a level 2 costs actually quadruple the amount. So to get +2 per month would cost us 5 ducats per month. There's no way we can afford that. But we can afford a level 1 dude. Level 1 dude only costs 0.62, and sorry, costs 1.24 ordinarily. But this guy, Antonio de Nebria, for some reason is costing only half of that. Now there's special events that make advisors cost half price, and they're hugely worth it. So this is, what is this all about? Hiring, we read that before. Click the empty portrait to go to the list of available advisors. Hire an advisor to continue. Yeah, we'll get this guy. So he's 51, he's quite old, so he won't live for very long. You expect advisors to die at about from anywhere from 55 up to 75 in a bell curve, probably. So 65, very likely that characters will die. 75, they could live that long, and 55, they could live that long. I mean, I think the bell curve goes further. They could easily die younger, but I don't think I've ever seen an advisor get much older than that. Not that I pay much attention to them. So this guy is going to cost us an upfront cost of 3.65 ducats and an additional 0.62 per month. Now, good news is that he was an advisor one, wasn't he? Sorry, an admin one, wasn't he? Yep. Antonio de Nebria is now there, so we're now getting 9 admin points per month. Getting 9 Diplo points per month, and we're getting 6 military power per month. Let's have a look at that. We can see in that same window, in the court window, how all of those pan out, and there's expansions that change how all of this works, but good to know. And if we ever want to kick out, if we're running out of money, for example, if we're not making enough money from tax, or we're in a really expensive war, or why? I mean, those are the 2 reasons to get rid of an advisor. Yeah, you just need to tighten up on expenses. The kick out button is right there, but you can't fire them in the first month. Core provinces are provinces that your nation considers their homelands. It is important to make provinces into cores to avoid overextension. A province that is not a core province has significantly reduced tax income and manpower. That's correct. Having a claim on a recently conquered province will reduce the cost and time it takes to make it a core. Does it reduce the time? I'm suspicious of that. I'm very suspicious of that. It may do. Maybe it does, but only a wee bit. Let's have a look at that place. It doesn't tell us the exact effect, does it? And we haven't got anything else that we've taken to collaborate that. But before we'll do this now. So the way that you core things is usually you click that and it will take you to the stability and expansion window. This will show you how overexpanded you are, and when you press manage, oh whoops, no, we're already there. When you've got no unrest, it will immediately take you there. If you have unrest or rebels, they'll be showing in there. So in Granada, whose culture is Andalusian, is causing us 15% overextension, and it's going to cost us 30 admin points to core it. So it's going to take 6 months, which seems extremely quick, and which I can only guess is because tutorial. So this 15% overextension, this here is a really important number. If this ever goes over 100%, bad stuff starts happening. Now, it's not to say that I don't go over 100% sometimes. There's reasons and ways to manage things and things to do, but you want to avoid going over 100 extension. Overextension. As it is, you can see there's penalties already. So we've got national unrest has been increased. It costs us more to get stability. Our trade power has gone down. Our mercs are costing more. Our diplo rep has gone down. It's harder for us to improve our relations with other people, and we're gaining corruption each month. So none of those are good things. And if you look at those numbers, and then you increased them to increased this value to 100%, you end up with what? 75 with 5 national unrest at 100, with plus 50% stability cost modifier, trade down to by trade power abroad down by 50%. It's just all very ugly. You don't want any of that, and so keeping your dealing with your overextension as soon as possible is a really good idea. Rule of thumb is to make sure you have enough, particularly when you're looking to finish a war, before you take on all this overextension. Make sure you've got enough admin to be able to core everything, so your overextension doesn't last for years and years and years, and cause heaps of rebels to start spawning, and cost diplomatic reputation penalties. You want to avoid all of this stuff in here, basically. So make sure that your stability is that your admin power is high enough to core all of the provinces, and then make your peace deal. There's no harm in keeping a war going to an extent. There's a thing called war weariness, which we'll come to later on, but it's not terrifically important. So we're waiting for that to core. It's going to take us 6 months. This progress is insanely quick, and it can only be because of tutorial. I'm certain nothing takes 6 months. Typically they take 36 months, I believe. 36 has modifiers of it due to culture, I believe. I think culture, possibly religion, possibly having a claim, all reduce the coring time. And it could be the coring cost. All of those things gel together. Some of them reduce the coring cost, some of them reduce the coring time. So it's a fun jumble of those. Right, now what we saw before is this. There's lots of alerts up here, but this one was showing before where we've just conquered this one, so it's quite obvious to us. We'll be looking at it, we'll be coring it, we'll be doing other stuff. It's quite obvious to us that we need to convert this. At the moment, these Granada being Sunni causes 2.5% unrest. Causes 2.5 unrest. Reduces the amount of goods produced and reduces the amount of tax that the province gives us. We don't want that. We don't need that. But that's happening across the way. There's another 4 provinces which we can use. Where's it going to be? That one. Wrong. Where's it going to be? That one. We can see that all 4 of these. All 4 of these? Who was the 4th guy? 1, 2, 3, and Ifni. I have no idea where Ifni is, I'm afraid. Ifni. Ah, there's Ifni. So we haven't converted Ifni either. So we need to convert that and those 3 if we want to be maximizing the amount of, what was it? The amount of goods produced, tax income, and and we want to get rid of the unrest there. But for the moment, it says convert the province of Granada. Let's convert that one. We've got 3. We've actually got 3 missionaries. So let's be smart. Let's convert all of these provinces at the same time. We don't want any Sunni provinces because they're causing us trouble. Oh, let's keep an eye on that. He's racing through. Again, that would take 100 times longer. Tutorial gives us, so it would take it would take 9 times as long as it has here. Alright, we've converted Granada to Catholic. Good stuff. Now, with them following our religion, we actually get a reduction to the global to their unrest, because they're the same religious flavour as our leader, and as the rest of our country, they're happy to be part of the team. Buildings are an important part. They sure are. So all buildings cost ducats to build. They sure do. We had a look at building buildings before, but let's have a look here. We've got a church, just to go through that slower, by clicking on the province, clicking on this tab, which I always leave open. There's no point to... Oh, they do have institutions in this. Cool. Okay, that's another thing we'll come to later on. So there is a reason to potentially have that closed. You might be trying to look at that instead. And why they didn't put that as another tag there next to the building, I've no freaking idea. I guess it allows you to have multiple tabs open, which having 2 of those may not. Yeah, alright. I forgive you, Paradox. So we want to build a church. Luckily, we didn't spend too much money on our mercs that we can still afford a church. So let's go here. There's all sorts of things, do all sorts of different stuff. We're going to go through them in detail later on. For the moment, we're just increase the income of this province by 0.12. Sounds good to me. Now, I want to have a look at a thing. We could have actually made more money elsewhere rather than building that there and gaining 0.12 ducats per month, which seems tiny and is probably too small. I ordinarily wouldn't build. Actually, that's a good point. So that may increase it in time, but I ordinarily wouldn't build a church at somewhere that makes that little money. At this rate, that will make 0.12 per month. It'll make 2.4 per year. It'll pay itself off after 25 years. I guess it's not too bad when the game lasts 370 years, I think. So 1540, 1640, 70, yeah, 370 years. It's worthwhile. It does make you money, but I could still see that money spent elsewhere, particularly when you've got somewhere like Sevilla, which Sevilla is Sevilla. I was thinking of Valencia for some reason. Sevilla would give us 0.23. So if we were playing this game for realsies, absolutely no way I'd build a temple there, but we're doing what the game tells us. Let's spend our hard-earned money, well, hard stolen from the Spanish bloody Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition was very active in the kingdoms of Castile and Aragon between 1480 and 1530. Forced conversions and expanded inquisitorial powers led to unrest, and in 1484 to 1485 there was a revolt and protest of inquisitorial expansion of power. Rebels. So we've got an event that's going to reduce our stability, which we haven't seen before. We've neither pushed it up nor have we pushed it down previously. So our stability is going to take a hit here, and we'll have a look at what it does. Oh, hang on. The game had already pushed it up to 3. Okay, so it's not going to go negative, so I can't show you what negative stab does, but it has some bad repercussions. There are many different types of rebels, each faction with a different agenda. The unrest in a province determines the likelihood of a revolt happening. You can either... Well, that's not true. In this case, the revolt happened because of an event, which sucks, but hey, it's under control, and I'll show you why in a minute. Unrest in a province determines the likelihood of a revolt happening. You can either choose to defeat the rebels in battle or negotiate with them in the Stability and Expansion tab. Remember to unpause. Yes, that's fine. Let's have a look at that Stability and Expansion tab. If we accept their demands, we get plus 20% autonomy in every province we control. These are Socinian heretics. They're a heretic group off the Catholic faith group. No, the Christian faith group. Yeah. No, these are only against Catholic. I don't think these would pop for others. I think they're specifically off Catholic. So let's defeat the rebels to continue. You don't need to go there, mate. You need to go there, mate. So we'll send this army over here and that army over there. Nope, that's backwards. Let's send the bigger army over there. 21st of May versus 24th of June. Nope. We don't want that. Oops. Oh, didn't that say 20... something about May? I don't know. Is that quicker? 28th of June. 24th of June. Alright, game. I'll give it to you. You can have this one. And these guys are going to go fight that lot. Oops, we're not going fast enough. Fast and pause and group. I can't group with the G button, so I'm forced to group that way. Now, these rebels, those ones actually aren't going to get there. We're going to get to them first before they can take over the province. But those guys have taken over the province. Now, typically, them taking over should have shot the autonomy through the roof. That's what these rebels do. They want to... I can tell you that. I can tell that because of... We haven't got the normal pop-ups going that I would have that would explain what's gone on. But because they want to increase autonomy for everyone, when they take over a province, they make that thing happen. So that autonomy would have jumped... That autonomy would have jumped up to 25.9. The reason that hasn't happened is because there's a... Oh yes, there is. There's a level 2 fort with our capital fort as well. So a level 3 fort, effectively, right next to it. If there's a castle... I call them forts, I don't know why. Oh, because they're fort level. So castle is a type of fort. They have different names as they go, as you increase through time and technology. So because we have a fort there, it prevents rebels from affecting any of the adjacent tiles. So rebels taking over any of these will have no effect until they take over this fort. If the rebels or enemies do take over this fort and then move somewhere else away, forts will unsiege them automatically. It's assumed that their control of that territory is not sufficient because we've got an entire fortified group in the next tile over, So control of that slowly takes over as though we were sieging it down, but we don't have to move any troops there. Hopefully I've explained that well enough. So we're just about to defeat these rebels, and let's move this away. You can see that that unsieging, or sieging if you like, bar continues. We can't really see it, but you can see it there. Even though these troops are moving away, ordinarily, if they were trying to unsiege that, nothing would be happening. Your troops have to be garrisoned on a tile to siege or unsiege it, but this tile is being unsieged by that fort. Hooray! Stability represents how, so we've dealt with those rebels, they've gone, and we no longer see anything in the rebel area. Stability represents how stable your nation is. We've already heard about that and the things it affects. So we want to boost our stability. In a real game, I wouldn't do it at them. Oh no, haven't we already dealt with the overextension? I'm too used to overextension taking 3 years, but I would avoid boosting stability while I'm overextended because of the increase of cost. But we're not overextended anyway, so let's boost this. It's still going to cost a lot. There's a cost of plus 100 because of positive stability. The first rung has a plus 50. Is that right? Positive stability plus 100. Maybe it always costs this much. Yeah, I think it always costs this much. So to go from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 cost the same, but to go from 0 to 1 costs half as much as this does. No. God. We'll examine it in game, shall we? I'm too poor at math to explain it properly. Let's boost this as they have asked. Royal marriages are a way to form a bond between your nation and another nation. With no unit selected, right-click a province in Portugal to open up the diplomacy. No shit. I have learned something. I genuinely didn't know that you could just right-click to go to Diplo. I've always, forever, gone like that. Bam! Right-click. Oh, man. Making moves now, son. So we can right-click, and it opens up the diplomacy window. The other way to do this, by the way, would be to have one of our tiles selected, be on the diplomacy window, then click one of their tiles. That's another way to do things. So we're in here, and we want to go to the dynastic actions right there and propose a royal marriage. Now they're going to accept that, and the reason we know that they're going to accept that is because of the green tick. That green tick there shows all of the positive modifiers, and we've got no negative modifiers at all. So plus 77, they'll definitely do it. Let's have a look, on the other hand, at old Francie Pants. They've got a red X. Now their reason for not wanting to marry us is just because they don't care about us either way. They've got a neutral opinion of us. At positive 12, they just don't care. So there's that natural, listen, we don't care about you enough to want to marry you. The way we'd get around that is by improving relations with them, and eventually, hopefully, they would, their French opinion of Castile that we've got at the moment, that plus 3, so that plus 3 is calculated from up the top here. That plus 12 divided by 4. So we'd need to improve their opinion of us by another, we've got 10, negative 10, 3, 7, 4, 28. We'd need to improve their opinion of us by another 28 to get the the 20 opinion divided by, 28 opinion divided by 4 to make 7 to give us plus 20 reasons to have that French opinion about Castile modifier reach 10. then it would be, actually it'd need to be 30, 32, because you need to have more than one. There we go. We need at least one more positive than negative reasons for acceptance. So we need to actually get them to 21 as opposed to 20. So improving up to 31. Oh God, I'm not even going to do the math anymore. And up to 21 is what I meant. Improving opinion until that meets 21 seems like a good idea to me. We'll do it. We may actually be rivaling these guys shortly, but let's try it in the meantime. And with Lisbon, they already want to marry us, so let's marry away. So that royal marriage was accepted immediately, and we didn't get a pop-up for it, which is just weird to me. But we'll go through all of my pop-up settings when we get into game proper, because this is just a nightmare. This configuration is crap. They should have at least started with some of the things popping up and showing you what's going on. Having royal marriages increases your legitimacy over time, but will give you a one-time reduction of legitimacy that depends on the difference in prestige and legitimacy of the two countries. Having a royal marriage with another nation gives you a chance of merging your dynasties and possibly entering a personal union. That's true. So the way that personal... Oh God, do I even start explaining this? No. No. That's uncool. What is of interest here is this little love heart. Now that means they're friendly. That means they'll accept an alliance immediately. Or if they won't accept an alliance immediately, it means there's some other reason, like they've been forced to break treaties with us, or we broke an alliance but they still love us, or yeah, a whole raft of things. But usually a positive opinion, a little love heart, is going to mean that an alliance is viable. We give them a question mark because we're a human, but they've improved our opinion of them up to plus 62. So we were at war at some point in the past. But we've also got the historical friend, royal marriage, and same religion bonuses. And we must have rejected an alliance from them at some point in the past. And we've got aggressive expansion penalty from them for taking over Granada, which they probably had some interests in. We'll go into that later on. Legitimacy, prestige, yeah, so our legitimacy... Typically our legitimacy should have dropped a wee bit when we got married, but we didn't. Who knows? Typically it drops 5. By 5 when you get a royal marriage. We'll see what happens when we do France. Hopefully we don't have to rival them. Yeah, personal unions we'll talk about later. Decisions allow you to reform your nation in some way. If the requirements are fulfilled, you can enact a decision and immediately gain the effects of the decision. Some decisions can be large undertakings, such as forming Germany or Italy, or in our case, I expect España. Form Spanish nation diplomatically. So, things that need to happen for Spain to be formed is we can't be a subject nation. That's why that's checked, because we are not a subject nation. We are at peace. We have legitimacy of at least 100. Granada does not exist. And one of the following must be true. Aragon is either governed by us or is a vassal of us. There's actually other stuff involved as well. I think there's some tech. Maybe I would have sworn that there was a technology requirement as well. Administrative tech of at least 10. I want to have a look at the tech just real quick. Maybe it's not. Maybe you can form Spain straight away. Interesting. Alright, so yeah, we're going to change to Spain. We're going to inherit Aragon. Spain will get a permanent claim on the entire Iberia region except for Beras, Aled, God, Alentejo, and Micronesia areas, and Madrid will become the new capital. Hurrah! So, we are now Spain. We took over because we've integrated them. We've got all of their military units, we've got all of their navy. We lose their rulers and we lose their money, but we get all of their land, and we can. Hopefully, it'll talk about it soon. That flag there is very important and needs a lot of explaining. But in the meantime, technology can be unlocked by spending Monarch points. Technology is, the three categories: admin, diplo, and middle. Open the tech tab to continue. Payout. Tech tab. Being ahead in technology will give you a penalty to technology costs. It is a good idea to plan technology and ideas so that the ones you do not want, the ones you want do not require the same Monarch points. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's a good idea to plan technology and ideas so that the ones you want do not require the same Monarch points. It is also good to plan in accordance to your ruler's abilities. Yep, that's true. Let's talk about that. We'll unlock Renaissance Thought. So Renaissance Thought, Tech 6, so Tech 5, 7, 10, 14, 18, 22, 26, 29, all unlock idea groups. Idea groups are a group of ideas that give you. So to check how much a tech is going to cost, scroll underneath it. It will cost us 592. If you scroll over it, it explains the bonuses and malices that you get. Boni and malai, perhaps. I have no idea. So increase over time, but ideas gives us a negative, so we're actually paying slightly less than the base cost of 600. We're paying 592. Yeah, a 1.3% saving. Great savings. The Monarch points to acquire the Monarch point cost to acquire technologies is modified by institutions you have embraced. At the start of the game, the only unlocked institution is feudalism, which starts out embraced by all countries in Europe and most of Asia. Every 50 years, a new institution is born, and a province somewhere in the world, and it will slowly spread to the rest of the world from that point. In order to embrace an institution, it needs to have spread to at least 10% of your provinces. Once a new institution is born, every country, they don't use enough commas throughout this game. You'll hear me get stuck on sentences constantly when I'm trying to read them out. There's commas missing everywhere. Once a new constitution is born, every country that has not yet embraced it will get a slowly increasing penalty to technology costs. What institutions exist and how they have spread can be examined by clicking the institutions button in the technology tab. Surely can. So we're in the technology tab here. Click on the institution, and we can see that colonialism hasn't spawned yet. Yeah, good point. So we do have the Renaissance and we do have feudalism. Firenze spawned Renaissance. It can only spawn in Italy, and okay, to spawn colonialism, we'd need to have the date would need to be at least 1500. One of the following must be true. Yep, we've got a tick for that. We're on the continent of Europe. We have a port in Asturias. Asturias is not inland. Asturias is in a state. One of the following must be true. Have a province, modify coastal center of trade development at least 12. And be a capital province and connected to the capital. But what we don't have is we don't have Quest for the New World. Quest for the New World is an idea. Oh yeah, yeah, that's fine. We already read through that, didn't we? Idea groups can be chosen at specific intervals. We showed those intervals before. Those are those guys there. This whole area shows useful information. So add does this to a lesser extent, but yeah, that quite useful. So if we click on the Ideas tab, we can select Exploration Ideas Group. Come on, Exploration. Exploration is one of the diplomatic ones, so that means each of these is going to cost us an average of 400 Diplo points to unlock. We've already done one in here. We did religious ideas. Religious ideas, we're doing religious ideas at the moment. Religious ideas allows us to do a whole bunch of religiously type stuff. But we're going to do exploration as well. And we need to unlock Quest for the New World. That's the thing that will allow us to be the spawning place, hopefully, of colonialism. We'll get Quest for the New World, which is part 2, which is chunk 2 of exploration ideas. So we get first one we do gives us a free colonist, cool. Second one we do gives us Quest for the New World. Yeah, buddy. That concludes the Spanish Inquisition chapter. Great. Now let's have a look back where we were at the institution area. It hasn't registered it yet. Did it take till the end of the day? Oh, I see. We need to. So the province owner must have Quest for the New World, and at least one province in the North America continent is discovered. So let's do that. To make that happen, actually let's continue on this, because I imagine that's exactly what this is going to do. So we can get more ideas if we want to. This is a point. This row up here, these are the Spanish idea group. This is the Spanish idea group. When we start the game, we automatically get one extra missionary, and we get plus 15% morale for our armies. When we finish all of these things, all of these Spanish ideas, we get a final bonus, which is a global settler increase of plus 25, which means I'll show you later on. But it's useful. All of those are useful. That plus 15% morale is really good. One free missionary, not so much. I don't really like it at all. But hey, so what? Those are Spanish ideas. That's what Spaniards do. Now, within these ideas, you have apart from these national ideas, we have Spanish ideas. Now, these are filled by taking other idea chunks. So we've taken 1, 2, 3, 4 now. So there's three idea chunks per national idea. 1, 2, 3, and we're at 4 at the moment. It needs 5, 6 to fill that out. We can get to 5, we can't get to 6. No, we can't. And what does that do? It increases missionary strength. Not really worth doing just yet. We might get some modifiers that reduce that cost. We'll see. We'll see how we go. We may do it yet. Yes, so we've gotten 4 of those. This first one has given us a bonus to discipline. Now, discipline is how well your army fights. Morale is how long your army will fight for, and how resilient they are to taking damage and their fellows around them dying, and losses on the battlefield and other units fleeing and all sorts of stuff. There's a whole lot goes into combat, which I'll explain when we're playing the campaign proper. But discipline is great. You always want discipline whenever you can get it. Morale is good. Morale helps you win wars. Uh, Discipline helps you. Well, I mean, they both help you win wars, don't they? Discipline keeps you in a war for much longer, and morale gives you that last little bit that you need to win a battle. It makes sure you guys are still there in the battle that would otherwise go either way. Difficult to explain. I'll show you. I'll show you at some point. All right, let's excuse me. Let's continue this and see what happens. We'll change off that because it's a bit bright. Exploration and colonization is an important part of Europa Universalis 4. It is to an extent for certain nations. It is for Portugal, Spain, France, England, Scotland, Norway, Ottomans, sometimes you'll get an outlier like, I don't know, Holland. Holland will do some colonizing. Maybe Brittany. I've seen Brittany colonize. I don't think I've ever seen Genoa colonize, which is weird given that they're. Oh, sorry, that's not Genoa. That's Genoa. I think maybe I've seen Naples colonize. It's really it's not a huge thing. It's those guys do the colonizing of the entire New World. Uh, Russia colonizes. Sorry, Muscovy becomes Russia and colonizes Siberia. Oh, occasionally you'll see China or Ming rather, Ming or Korea colonize over into the western side of the New World, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's an important part. Well, no, it is. It is. It makes the nations that do the colonizing tremendously wealthy if they do it well and if they do it right. Um, Sorry, if they do it well and they get lucky doing it too. Discovering new lands and founding new settlements is a relatively peaceful way of expanding your empire. That's true. It is. Except for the poor people that you displaced, no comment. Uncharted lands are hidden by terra incognita. You will uncharted lands and seas. This is all terra incognita over here. We have no idea. Land what? What land? Unknown land over there. To recruit explorers or oh crap. So to recruit explorers you to recruit explorers you just select that, hit up there and press that one. That's already been done for us. We've already got Cristobal Colon, and we're going to send him out exploring. We don't want to send all of our ships with him. He can just have 3 heavies. You need a minimum of 3 light ships to go exploring, but we've got 3 heavies, so why not send them out there? 3 heavies. Heavy ships get to search for longer. So, oh, wow. Okay, let's read this. Explorer Christopher Columbus made 2 attempts in 1485 and 1488 to convince the King of Portugal, John III, to finance an expedition to try and find a western route to the Orient. After being rejected the second time, Columbus turned his efforts towards the Spanish crown. Backed up by Italian investors, Columbus finally managed to convince King Ferdinand to agree to the expedition. In August 1492, after having been made Admiral of the Seas and promised a share of the profits, Columbus finally set sail. Set sail! Right, so, no, okay. We just need to send the ship there. Cool. Okay, so I've got various DLCs that do different things in relation to this thingamy. That's no good to us. .7 in Genoa. Are we collecting there? No. Where is our? We've got one there, pushing trade there. Yeah, let's go to Genoa and send out other... Hang on, where are they? Oh, he's pushing 0.97. Ugh. No. Okay, so that guy's pushing 0.97 ducats at the moment that way. May seem like a good idea. 0.97 ducats sounds great. But by the time that 0.97 gets there, we only get 47% of that 9.7 anyway. Instead, we could look up here at 15% of that, which if I'm not mistaken is about 15% of 18 should be like 2.8. I think we could collect 2.8 there. Who does more? 0.99, 0.97. It's a degree of inches. Let's move Garcia de Castilla to collect money from there. And at the end of the month, we should see how much he collects. Alright, 2.47. So that's much better than what we were making before. And I wasn't paying attention there. Hopefully someone else was. But I imagine it's a reduction of 0.9, if that. No, it was even smaller than that. It was inconsequential, I believe. I think it was 0.97, wasn't it? 0.94? Yeah. Who cares? We're making a lot more money now. Oh, though we are paying a lot of army maintenance, a lot of fort maintenance, some state maintenance, some fleet maintenance. We're over the force limit. Oh, do you know why, my friends? What's happened here is that we've gone over our force limit because we've got a whole bunch of new ships. Oh, sorry, that was their army. Let's go off trade mode view. Oh, are we over our army limit as well? We are. Okay. Because we formed Spain... Oh, no, that's true. Okay. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's happened here that hasn't been... that the tutorial didn't talk about. We took over the Aragonese land when we became Spain, but what didn't happen is we didn't end up making these terrifically valuable provinces into states. Oh, we also don't accept Catalan culture, which is the majority of their culture. Culture, where was culture? Where was culture now? Okay, so we can see that all of this land, oh, they've got Aragonese and Catalan. That's interesting. I thought we got a cultural union of both. Oh, and we can only have 2 accepted at the moment. Okay. Alright, so we can't do anything to get their culture working for us. Well, we can. Okay, so let's have a look here. We accept, at the moment, God damn, I wish that thing wouldn't go away. I'm so worried that this is going to mess up my... Okay, it's not allowing me to add it, but we accept Leonese, we accept Andalusian, we accept Castilian, and that's it. Castilian is our core culture. We've added on Leonese, and we've added on Andalusian. We don't accept the Galician culture. We don't accept the Basque culture. We don't accept Catalan culture, and we don't accept Aragonese culture. Now, what we can do, for 127 Diplo points, over 170 months, we could change that culture to a culture that we accept. That's not great for us. We don't really want to do that. What we want to do instead is wait for techs that allow us to accept more cultures. So at Tech 8, we'll be able to accept another culture, and we'll probably do, if we have a look back in the government window, we can see that, oh no. Okay, so we have no state development as any of those at the moment. Okay, so these percentages here show us the percentage of states, of provinces that belong to states that we've stated. Very tricky. Right. So, any province is a province in and of itself. It will give you a certain amount of money, and it will have a certain amount of autonomy that will, when you take it over, if this is a base, this is our capital, your capital has zero autonomy because your government has full control of that province. It's also automatically in a state because your capital your capital is a capital state, and anything that you add within that state will automatically be considered a capital, will automatically be considered to be in a state. Now, this province here, when we took it over, was already in the state of Upper Andalusia. We just didn't control it. We'd already cored this province, and then gone up here and clicked that button to make it a state. At the moment, to click that button would take it away as a state, but we've already spent all of the admin doing that. We don't want to do that, and I don't know how the tutorial will handle that. If we have a look over here, actually Toledo is one of ours, I believe. Yep. Valencia. Which of these has more development? Yeah. So the state of Valencia was the form. No, that's not true. The state Aragon was probably the former capital of Aragon, wasn't it? Maybe. I wasn't paying enough attention. I think it's probably Valencia because it's more developed. Oh no, 14 plays 17. Yeah, okay. So Aragon was the former capital of Aragon, and there is a total of 43 development, and that's not right. 33. Yeah, 33 in this state. And that's quite good. That's worthwhile. So at the moment, the state income is 0.39, and we don't pay any maintenance because we haven't stated it. If we click this button here, making Aragon into a state will cost us 0.24 ducats in maintenance every month, but will give us will increase our income by 1.8. Now that sounds like a good deal to me. Why wouldn't you do that? Absolutely no reason why not to. One caveat to that is that you have a limited number of states. That's limited by the government type you have, the government rank that you have, the technology level that you're at, the idea groups that you've taken, all sorts of things. But at the moment we've got 3 free states, and we've got 5 places that we can add. Actually, this is a nice, often this window isn't manageable at all, but it's really good here. So we can see that we can add Sicily. My gosh, if we add Sicily, we get 61 development. If we add Valencia, we get 40 development. We add Aragon, we get 33 development. Catalonia. Oh, France have got a chunk of Catalonia. You rotters. So let's do Sicily. Let's make Sicily into a state. Sicily has its own 1 Maltese culture, which is Malta, and 3 Sicilian cultures. which is Sicily. But it's so much development that we'd be mad not to do it. So let's click on this one. We're going to make it a state, go from 60.65 ducats per month to 2 ducats per month. Yeah, buddy. Nope, that still hasn't fixed our problem. Now, because we took this from because we integrated this country, we don't need to do the second, we don't need to make this one of our cores. How to explain that? Here's a good way to explain it. Right, if we have a look at here, oh my god, we stated that? Okay. So for some reason we've stated this one province, which costs us 0.3 in maintenance and gives us 0.6 income. Now, when we've got a limited number of states, there's far better things to do with that. Even here would be better, even if we did the Canarias. The Canary Islands, that would be better than that. That's only got 3 development. It can't give us anything. It's got Berber culture, which is a horrible culture to convert. To core. Actually, we've already caught it. Their culture makes coring cost much more expensive here. So when you press that button, it costs far more because of the Berber traditions. It's 18, where it should be 13, would be my guess. And but this one is Castilian because we've colonized it. It's Catholic because we colonized it, and there's no one living here. But there was, what was the other one that I was? Oh, it was the it was these, the Western Mediterranean islands, not that place. So we could even core here, state here, and we'd get a better deal than we do with Ethne. So we'll consider that. Let's have a look what other options we've got. We've got Valencia. We'll do that one for sure. They're all Catalan. Great. We've got Aragon. We'll state that one. And we've run out of states. We've got 32 development that we can get hold of and 17. 32 in Catalonia, and 17 over here. And if we have another look at that window, we can see that we've got a state. Vasconia gives us 1, and southern Morocco gives us 3. Vasconia is that there, which Navarra control. Oh, we have a claim on it. Oh, we have a claim on Spain. Oh, sorry, on France. Oh, we have 2 claims on France. Most interesting. Oh, they've got Brittany as a junior partner. Interesting. And Neves as a vassal. Really? Oh, wow. Huh. Anyway, where were we? Yes, we were talking about states. So I'm going to unstate. I'm going to unstate this place. They'll no longer be forced to pay we will no longer be forced to pay their state maintenance to make them full cores again. So it's only going to become a territorial core. So it will cost us 9 to core it if we want to again in the future. I don't care. It's 3 development that you can't make money. I mean, as it is, we're only losing 0.04 ducats per month from unstating them. Now, we can look to... No, not you again. Stop trying to trick me. Great, there's Catalonia. And I'm even tempted to do the Western Mediterranean. But I think for the moment that will do us. This is good, but it's Sardinian culture, which will never be... They're very expensive. Oh, you can't develop anyway in this that DLC. Sorry, talking to myself a little bit there. Yeah, so there's no point having states on places that have low development. You never want to make that trade that we had going on before, where we were getting 3 development instead of Was Colonia 32. Just the maths is all wrong. All wrong. It's all wrong, I tell you. So we do have one more state that has... Ooh, that could be tricky actually. We'll give it a go. Now, when you're doing... Oh no, it's fine. The tutorial gives us a free -15 unrest. I like that. Normally an active missionary on any religion will cause some unrest, and you'll have to start worrying about rebel stacks jumping up, but we don't need to here because tutorial. Don't know if having the tutorial this polite is a good idea. Okay, we've reorganized our states, but have we done what we want to with our navies? We might keep their navy and get rid of ours. We can't afford it. Oh, let's have a look how much it costs at the moment now. We'll wait till the end of the month and just make sure that this has been calculated. Okay, so with the new calculations, once all of the new income from our new states and our new juggling of states comes into play, we can actually afford all of this. We're still over the force limit for our ships, but only by a tiny proportion. So it's not too big of a deal. We'll keep all of our navy. Let's have a look at our army. Our army is not over the force limit. Perfect. Okay, that's great. So we're making money clean. This is good to see. What was I thinking about here? Yeah, we could get that. It's missionary strength. It's no big deal. Well, to be honest, if we were playing the game for real, we would want to be colonizing more quickly. Sorry, converting more quickly. So let's do that. Let's play this as though it was a real game. And we'll increase that by 3. So his missionary strength would now be 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5. Is that right? No. It's 2 base value. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.5 versus the negative modifiers of 8.5, 4.2 is how it would work once you take those off, and 4.2 is good. It would be quite quick. The equation's hard to explain with that tutorial bonus of plus 90 in the way, but it would take 10 times as long as this, basically. 9 times as long as this. Is that right? Maybe. It's tricky to explain. Hooray! With our new idea, we're just converting so quickly, guys. We're doing so well. I can't group because, for whatever reason, shortcut keys are murdered on this. Following technologies can be invested in. Oh, we can get a new military tech. Now, it might seem like a good idea to get techs as soon as you can get them, as soon as they become available. Truth is that the costs reduce when your neighbours get technologies. So let's have a look. Increase over time is 2.7, so they don't have tech 6. Sorry, they don't have tech 7. Nope, they've got 6. They've got 6. And they've got 6. Okay. So when your neighbours have better techs than you get a bonus to them. But in this case, we're not getting it. And we're not ahead of time. So let's go ahead of time. Huh? Alright. I don't know why that didn't change that. I would have expected it to. Oh well. Anything else I should explain? Oh, it may go into some of the other stuff. Are you there yet, mate? Oh, I see. You're arrow changed. No? Oh, maybe it did change and I didn't realize. I feel like I'm leading signs for God. Leading signs from God. So you can't move more than... Ah, yes you can. Interesting. Yeah, so typically with other DLCs, you don't need to do this so much. You just select a mission type and explore, and it does it for you. But this is kind of cool doing it this way as well. It's a bit more hands-on, but still interesting. On October the 12th, 1492, after 34 days out of sight of land, Christopher Columbus and his crew set foot on an island in the Bahamas, which Columbus named San Salvador. They had discovered a new world, land. Spain will discover Tortuga. Tortuga has been discovered. Now, what that means is, oh, here we go. Colonies can be, I was going to say confounded. Colonies can be founded by nations that have access to colonists. Colonists are primarily gained by the exploration and expansion idea groups. When a colonist is sent to an uncolonized province, he first has to travel there. Once he has arrived, he will begin constructing a settlement. Remember to unpause the game. So it's going to take 156 days for our colonists to get there. But sounds good to me. We've got 2 colonists, and we've explored 2 places. So let's send both our colonists there, shall we? These guys, in the meantime, can go there. I've got to keep an eye on their health. Once their health, for lack of a better term, gets below 50. Actually, no, I think we can land there, can we? We'll see what happens at the end of the month. I think landing at a colony may push that back up. It does. Cool. And it says that our explorer is ready to go again, so we can just send him on a jolly adventure tour around here. I'm pretty sure there's all sorts of fun things to see. And just keep an eye on him whenever his health goes down to 50, we'll send him back to somewhere friendly. I like my movement plan. I think that's really good. I'm trying to guess where the inside of the new world is. Okay, there's South America. Feeling my way around the edge of Brazil. Okay, that's fine. That will do, Columbus. You're okay, mate. Or Cristobal, rather. Once settled, a colony will take some time to grow before it becomes self-sufficient. The amount of new settlers in the colony will increase each month, and it needs 1,000 settlers to become self-sufficient. Having a colonist present will increase the growth of settler population. It surely bloody will. So we're going at 25 per year. We're going to need 100 months. No, 100. Blah, come on, brain. 25 per year means 54. We need 40 years to make this a. No, less than 40. Like 36. To make this a colony. 36 times 25, does that sound right? No. No, 36 times 12. Oh god. 25 per year means 100 every 4 years. So 40 years it is. Because we're only talking about years, there's no month calculations. 40 years and this place will be a colony. Now, the difference is that we get new settler boost of 12.8% chance to increase the population by 25. So yeah, so 38.4 is our actual average per year, because this colonist is encouraging people to settle the damn place. Same as Ramiro Palafox is doing the same, and so we're actually at 38 per year. So that's down to like 30, 38, 30 years, I think, somewhere around there. But yeah, we've got our colonists on the go. Once settled, click next, continue. Well done. This concludes the New World chapter of the Spanish Thingy thing. We recommend that you make good use of the hint system once you start playing a regular game. Cool. So, no, I'm gonna keep playing this, man. I like all these bonuses that you're giving me. So, I don't think there's actually. I really don't want to play this. I think we've probably discussed enough stuff. Oh, okay. So here's a point about colonizing that's important. Hang on. Is there anything that the tutorial has missed? Yeah, whole bunch of stuff really. Okay, so rivals is killing us at the moment. We've got no rivals, but both Austria and the Mamelukes hate us. The Mamluks hating us is kind of cool, because when the Mamluks hate you, oh, wow, Ottomans have no rivals. That's crazy. I was gonna say, when the Mamluks don't like you, it's easier to make the Ottomans like you, but not true. Not true in this case. No. Okay, that's enough. What we'll do is we'll start a game from the ground up. This was cool. It sort of explains some stuff to us. We got to examine moving, controlling states, and some other little bits and pieces, but not enough to feel like anyone could understand the game in any more than an utterly rudimentary way. That it didn't talk about river crossing penalties, or defensive penalties, or how fort combat works, or there's so much stuff we need to discuss, guys. So we'll wrap this one up here, and I'll get to thinking about what was missed from this series of tutorials, and I'll come back and try and explain our way on. It'll take a couple of days if anyone happens to see this really soon and has a particular request for a country that you want to play. Let me know. I think last time I did a tutorial was a couple of years ago, and that had with some DLCs. The purpose of this one is with no DLCs whatsoever, and with all the current mechanisms, the current free-to-play mechanisms in the background from the latest patch. So I did Burgundy then, and I felt like it was a good idea because it was close to the H area, it was close to England, it was coastal, it had some events related to it. I think it's a good choice. Maybe Milan. Maybe Savoy. I don't know. There's a lot of options. Anyways, if you have any suggestions, do let me know. I'll likely be back in the next couple of days to continue this. I'm quite enjoying having to think about the game from a new player's perspective. So, as always, put any comments, questions you've got below, and any suggestions for nations for the tutorial. I'm very much tempted to go Catholic. Sorry, I'm now just speaking out. I'm just thinking out loud. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully I've explained some of the things that we need to see, and we'll look to continue that in the next video. See you then. Thank you so much for stopping by. See you soon.